Okay, so we're going to deep dive into a story that is was pretty wild actually, and all over the headlines.
Oh, yeah.
It's Tyrese Gibson,
Oh, wow. Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and his ex-wife Samantha Lee, and they're having this public battle over child support.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
yeah, we got this post from Shea Blogger quoting Samantha directly, and she's saying that Tyrese is making like at least $275,000 a month,
Wow.
but refusing to pay the $50,000 a month she's asking for in child support.
Okay.
The numbers alone are just crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
So to like help break this all down, we've got you here to like, give us the expertise.
Absolutely.
So like, what's your take on this whole thing?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a case that shows how messy things can get when you're dealing with child support, and especially with like high income earners,
Right.
and Samantha's frustration, like I totally get it.
Yeah.
But that statement where she says that child support is like now based on how much the man makes and not what the child needs, I think that needs a little more explanation.
Yeah. Okay. So like, it seems pretty straightforward at first glance, but I'm guessing there's more to it than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So child support calculations do look at the income of the person who makes more money.
Right.
But it's not just about that.
Okay.
The idea is to make sure that the child can keep living like a reasonable lifestyle,
Okay.
considering the financial situation of both parents.
I see.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Reasonable, well, that can mean different things to different people.
Oh, right.
And it really depends on what state you're in.
That makes sense.
Like some states, they put a limit on how much child support can be,
Okay.
while others, they use a percentage system based on, how many kids there are.
Wow.
So it can get really complicated. Like
Yeah.
even with what Tyrese is reportedly making,
Right.
there's no guarantee that Samantha would automatically get that $50,000 a month.
So it's not as easy as like just throwing out a big number and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's not that simple.
Got it.
And here's another thing to think about.
Mm.
Custody arrangements, they play a huge role too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or like say Tyrese ends up with primary custody.
Okay.
That could totally change how much Samantha gets, even if he's making a ton of money.
Wow.
In some states, they even look at the income of new partners if the parents have remarried.
Seriously?
Yeah, so you can see it gets really complex.
Like a whole financial maze with like all these moving parts?
Exactly.
So going back to Samantha's claims.
Yeah.
She says Tyrese offered her $3,500 a month
Right.
and suggested that if that wasn't enough, she should like give up custody. That seems a little,
Yeah. Contentious for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know Tyrese's side of the story, of course.
Right.
But we can look at what usually happens in these situations.
Yeah.
It's not unusual for a parent who makes a lot of money to try and get more custody.
Really?
Yeah, as a way to potentially pay less child support.
Mm.
It can get really tricky, though,
Yeah, but
because it puts the other parent in a tough spot emotionally.
it's got to be hard on the kids too,
Oh,
You know,
I think.
being stuck in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
Like, do you think these public fights affect the case itself?
They can definitely think about the damage it can do to people's reputations.
Right.
And, of course, the impact it has on the kids, like
Yeah.
psychologically, all this public stuff.
Right.
It can also change how the lawyers approach the case.
Oh, so?
Well, a lawyer might tell their client to, keep quiet
Okay.
or try and settle things quickly.
To avoid more bad press.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a reminder that these aren't just like legal cases,
Right.
There are real people involved, real families with feelings.
Absolutely.
And speaking of feelings, Samantha also said she doesn't feel sorry for Tyrese and that he's playing the victim.
Yeah.
Like this whole situation just seems so tense.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Even with all the legal stuff in place, child support often becomes about way more than just money.
Yeah.
It brings up issues of fairness, resentment, and what it really means to provide for your children.
Right.
Samantha clearly feels like she's not valued.
Yeah.
And Tyrese, well, from what we can tell, he might be saying that people are getting the wrong idea about his financial contributions.
Interesting.
Or that they're exaggerating things.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
It really is. It kind of makes you wonder, though, like, what should be the main focus when figuring out child support?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it just about making sure the kids have their basic needs met?
Right.
Or should they get to benefit from the lifestyle of the parent who makes more money?
Yeah, especially in a case like this where there's such a big difference in income.
Right. That's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer.
I bet.
The courts are always dealing with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people say that kids deserve to share in their parents' wealth,
Mhm.
while others worry that it'll create unrealistic expectations or make kids feel entitled.
It's a tough one.
It is.
It's easy to get caught up in the celebrity drama aspect.
Yeah.
But this case really shows the struggles that families go through with child support.
For sure.
It reminds us that it's not always so black and white,
Right.
and there's often way more to the story than we see on the surface.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from the ins and outs of how child support is calculated
Mm-hmm.
to the legal and emotional stuff that comes with public disputes.
Right.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening, I gotta say.
It's a fascinating case.
So here's something to think about as we wrap things up.
Okay.
If you had to create a fairer system for child support, what would be the most important things to consider?
That's a good question.
It's something to keep in mind as family law keeps changing.
Absolutely. It's a constantly evolving area.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.